We have 2 audience members and 2 dogs, plus the camera person. Our other 2 audience members canceled last minute.
Hi, my name is Alec and today I'm going to give you my information presentation. Have you ever heard of polio or wondered what it was? Today I'm going to answer that question for you. Today you are going to learn what polio is, how many people are affected, the vaccination of polio and its impact on society, and 2 surprising people/organizations that involve polio. First, let's discuss what polio is. According to the CDC, polio is defined as being a crippling and potentially deadly infectious disease. Polio, which is short for poliomyelitis, once called infantile paralysis, used to strike thousands of children in the United States and across the world. Polio is spread from person to person by contact with infected secretions from the nose or mouth, or by contact with infected feces. It usually enters the body when the person contaminates themselves with contaminated food or water that touches the mouth with contaminated hands. Polio is a disease that can affect the central nervous system, which is the brain and spinal cord, and cause lasting disabilities in a small number of infected individuals. It is caused by any of 3 types of polioviruses. Polio infection is most common in infants and children, but young adults and some older people can get it too. According to the World Health Organization, up to 95% of individuals with a polio infection have no symptoms. Approximately 4 to 8% have mild symptoms such as a sore throat, headache, nausea, and low-grade fever. These individuals generally recover from the symptoms within a week. However, from the digestive tract, which is the stomach and intestines, the virus can get into the bloodstream and be carried to the central nervous system. About 1 to 2% of infected individuals develop a high fever or meningitis, which is inflammation of membranes surrounding the brain and spinal cord, stiff neck, and limb pain. These individuals generally recover completely around 10 days. According to PubMed Health, in fewer than 1 of every 100 infected persons, the virus attacks nerves inside the spine that send messages to the muscles in the arms, legs, and other areas. This can result in partial or complete paralysis. If the virus gets into the brainstem, muscles needed for breathing, swallowing, and other vital functions become paralyzed, and the person may die. In today's America, polio is not as big of a problem. However, the Global Polio Eradication Initiative classifies 3 countries of still having a polio epidemic. These countries are Afghanistan, Nigeria, and Pakistan. 3 other countries are having problems with polio, and these are Angola, Chad, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. The reason for this outbreak was because of a lack of vaccines being imported in. As shown here in the map of Africa, all the dark shaded areas have less than 80% of people completely cleared of polio. The main reason that the United States does not have issues with polio today, and other countries such as Afghanistan, Chad, and Angola do, is because of the polio vaccine. According to the World Health Organization, there are 2 polio vaccines currently available. The first vaccine was developed by Jonas Salk in 1952, and the vaccine was made available on April 12, 1955. This was the article that was printed in the newspaper after it became available to the public. Jonas Salk's vaccine consisted of an inactivated poliovirus being injected into the individual. A oral vaccination was later developed by Albert Sabin. Sabin's vaccine was created in 1957 and was licensed in 1962. Both vaccines cause the body to produce antibodies, which are specialized proteins produced by the immune system to help fight the polioviruses. The vaccines make a person immune to polio, and immune means that a person is protected from getting the infection. These 2 vaccines have helped eliminate polio throughout the world and have helped reduce the worldwide incidence of polio. For example, in 1988 there were 350,000 cases of polio, and in 2009 there were approximately 1,600 cases around the world. Even with the vaccination, there is no cure for polio. Here's the map of the United States in 2000, and the lowest state is Indiana with 88% getting the polio vaccination. All the dark shaded states have over 90% of kids getting it. With polio, breathing problems may become an issue. For this reason, an iron lung or negative pressure ventilator may be used. And here's a picture of an iron lung that was used in the past. A negative pressure ventilator, which is often referred to as an iron lung, is a form of medical ventilator that enables a person to breathe when normal muscle control has been lost to the work of breathing exceed the person's ability. The person using the iron lung is placed into the central chamber, which is a cylindrical steel drum. A door allowing the head and neck to remain free is then closed, forming a sealed airtight container, like closing the rest of the person's body. Pumps that control airflow periodically decrease and increase the air pressure within the chamber, and particularly on the chest. When the pressure is below that within the lungs expand and atmospheric pressure pushes air from outside the chamber in via the person's nose and airways to keep the lungs filled. When the pressure goes above that within the lungs, the reverse occurs, and air is expelled. In this manner, the iron lung mimics the physiological action of breathing by periodically alternating intrathoracic pressure. It causes air to flow in and out of the lungs. The iron lung is a form of non-invasive therapy, and the first negative pressure ventilator was discovered by Scottish physician John Daslow in 1832. One person that many people know is FDR. Franklin Delano Roosevelt is one famous individual who suffered from polio. FDR's paralytic illness began in 1921 at the age of 39, when he got a fever after exercising heavily during a vacation in Canada. While Roosevelt's bout with the illness was well known during his terms as President of the United States, the extent of his paralysis was kept from public view. After his death, his illness and paralysis became a major part of his image. He was diagnosed with polio 2 weeks after he fell ill. Roosevelt became paralyzed and could not stand. He was placed in a wheelchair to be able to move around. Another organization that is crucial to polio is the March of Dimes. The March of Dimes is an organization that helped control the polio epidemic. It is because of the March of Dimes that many people received treatment and vaccinations, and many people did not suffer the effects of this deadly disease. Polio is a topic that is very close to me. My father grew up having polio, and in a way I grew up with polio. I could not do the normal things sons do with their fathers, such as run in the yard and play basketball. Polio took away something from my father's childhood, and in a way part of my childhood was taken away as well. Today you have learned what polio is and how polio affects the body in various regions of the world. If you have any family members that encountered this virus, I encourage you to listen to their stories and see how polio affected their lives. Thank you.